Welcome back to Black Cube Productions, everyone. I'm Roger Cluton.
And I'm Cassie Cluton. Before we dive into today's incredible journey, we want you to smash that like button, share this episode with anyone who's curious about past lives and ancient mysteries, and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the metaphysical realm.
Today's episode is deeply personal. We're sharing a past life memory that came to me during a recent meditation session. It's about my time in Atlantis and two souls who were incredibly important to me then. Kassandra Jackson and her father, Scott Barden.
I'm so excited to hear this, Roger. You've mentioned fragments of this memory before, but never the full story. What triggered this particular recall?
It happened during a deep meditation 3 weeks ago. I was working with crystal frequencies and suddenly I was there, standing on a crystalline platform overlooking the most magnificent city I've ever seen. The architecture was unlike anything we have today, Cassie. Imagine towers that spiraled upward like living coral, but made of translucent materials that seemed to pulse with their own inner light.
Oh my goodness, that sounds breathtaking. Can you describe more of what you saw?
The buildings weren't just structures, they were alive in a way. They responded to the inhabitants' emotions and needs. I remember walking through what we might call streets, but they were more like flowing pathways of smooth, pearl-like stone that seemed to guide your steps. Above us, bridges of pure energy connected the towers, and people, or rather the Atlanteans, could walk across them as if they were solid.
That's incredible. And this is where you met Kassandra and Scott?
Actually, in this memory, I had known them for years. Kassandra was my closest friend. We were both students at what you might call a temple of learning, though it was so much more than that. It was a place where we studied the harmonics of creation itself. Scott, her father, was one of our teachers, a master of crystal technology.
Tell me about Kassandra. What was she like?
Kassandra had this incredible gift for seeing the energy patterns in everything. Her eyes were this deep violet color, not unusual in Atlantis, and when she concentrated, they would literally shimmer with inner light. She could look at a person and immediately understand their soul's purpose, their blocks, their potential. But what I loved most about her was her laughter, Cassie. It was like music, and it could heal sadness just by hearing it.
That sounds like an extraordinary soul. What kind of things did you do together?
We spent countless hours in the crystal gardens. Imagine vast terraced spaces filled with living crystals that grew like plants. Each crystal sang its own frequency, and together they created this symphony that could induce different states of consciousness. Kassandra and I would sit among them, practicing what we called frequency weaving, learning to harmonize our own energy fields with the crystals to access higher knowledge.
That sounds like such a beautiful way to learn and grow. And Scott, what was his role in all this?
Scott was remarkable. He was tall, with silver hair that seemed to hold starlight, and hands that could coax the most incredible responses from crystals. He taught us that crystals weren't just tools, they were conscious beings, partners in the work of maintaining harmony between the physical and spiritual realms. Under his guidance, we learned to communicate with the great master crystals that powered Atlantean civilization.
This is fascinating, Roger. Can you share a specific memory that stands out?
There's one day that's etched in my soul forever. Kassandra and I were working with Scott in the Central Temple, a massive pyramid made of what looked like living diamond. We were participating in a ceremony to attune a new master crystal that would help regulate the ocean currents around our continent. The three of us stood in a triangle formation around this enormous crystal, maybe 20 feet tall, that pulsed with rainbow light.
What happened during the ceremony?
As we began to harmonize our frequencies with the crystal, something unexpected occurred. The crystal began showing us visions, not of the present, but of possible futures. We saw the fall of Atlantis, the scattering of our people, the long ages of forgetting that would follow. But we also saw something else. We saw how souls like ours would find each other again in future lifetimes, carrying forward the wisdom we were learning then.
Oh wow, that must have been both beautiful and heartbreaking.
It was. I remember Kassandra reaching for my hand and Scott placing his hands on both of ours. In that moment, we made a soul pact that no matter how many lifetimes it took, no matter how far we were scattered, we would find ways to continue the work we had started together. We would help humanity remember its connection to the higher frequencies of love and wisdom.
That's giving me chills, Roger. Do you feel like you've reconnected with these souls in this lifetime?
I believe I have, though not always in the ways I expected. Sometimes I meet someone and there's this instant recognition, this feeling of, oh, there you are again. It's not always romantic love. Sometimes it's a teacher, a friend, even someone I meet briefly who shares exactly the wisdom I need to hear at that moment.
What do you think this memory is teaching you about your current spiritual path?
It's reminded me that the work we're doing now, these conversations about consciousness, spirituality, the nature of reality, it's not new. We've been having these conversations for lifetimes. The tools might be different. We use podcasts instead of crystal frequencies, but the intention is the same. To help people remember who they really are, to bridge the gap between the physical and spiritual worlds.
That's so beautiful, Roger. It makes me think about all our listeners out there and how many of them might be old souls carrying forward ancient wisdom in their own unique ways.
Exactly. And maybe that's the real message of this memory, that we're all connected across time and space by these threads of love and shared purpose. The Atlantis I remember wasn't perfect, but it was a time when humanity lived more consciously, more connected to the sacred. I believe we're moving towards that kind of consciousness again, one awakening soul at a time.
What would you say to someone listening who feels drawn to explore their own past life memories?
Trust your intuition. Pay attention to those moments of déjà vu, those instant connections with certain places or people, those skills that seem to come too naturally. And remember, it's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about understanding your soul's journey and how it informs your purpose in this lifetime.
Such wise words. As we wrap up today's episode, I'm feeling so grateful for the courage it takes to share something this personal and sacred.
Thank you for holding space for this story, Cassie. And thank you to all our listeners for being part of this exploration. Whether you believe in past lives or not, I hope this story reminds you that you are part of something much larger and more beautiful than you might imagine.
Before we go, remember to smash that like button if this episode resonated with you, share it with fellow seekers, and subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of consciousness and spirit.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep your heart open to the magic that surrounds us every day.
This has been Black Cube Productions. We'll see you in the next dimension of discovery.